Ramsey Mayor and Council meeting,
Regular meeting for Monday, December 20th, 2021. This meeting is also being conducted telephonically. The dial-in number is 425-436-6365, access code 213563. And the meeting may also be viewed on the Ramsey YouTube channel. May I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Dillon.
Here.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Here.
Councilman Gutwetter.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
Councilman Kilman.
Here.
Councilman Weber.
Here.
Councilwoman Woods.
Here. Here.
Thank you. May I have the flag salute? Actually, Councilman Jones will lead us in the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of all citizens to have advance notice of and to attend all meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting the public is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, notice of this meeting of the Mayor and Council was originally published in the Bergen Record on Sunday, January 10, 2021, and the Suburban News on February 4, 2021, and updated in the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News on Friday, June 4, 2021. Do we have approval of minutes?
Thank you, Mayor Dillon. I move the work session of November 10th and the regular meeting from November 29th of 2021.
I second it, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments on either set of minutes? Okay, not hearing any, we'll do roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gutwetter.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll open the meeting up to public comment. Oh, I'm so sorry. Moving along very quickly, sorry. Communications.
I would move that the communications be received and filed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments on the communications? I just want to say thank you to Sergeant Timothy Shoemaker for all of his wonderful years of service to the Ramsey. He did a wonderful job with the DARE program. I believe he was the officer of the year. So thank you to him for all his services, and I hope he has a wonderful retirement. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gutwetter.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. At this point, we'll open the meeting to public comment. Anyone wishing to address the governing body, please state your name, spelling the last name, and address as a courtesy. Please speak in an audible tone and address your comments to the chair. There will be a 5-minute time limit per speaker unless reduced because of the volume of business on the agenda. Please note, public comment is your time. Out of respect and fairness to all present, there will be no interruptions or questions answered during your time. No time shall be ceded to anyone else, and no time shall be saved for later use. Any responses may be given during the governing body's comments later in the meeting or as directed by the chair. The Borough Clerk is the official timekeeper. Anyone in chambers want to make a comment?
Good evening. My name is Michael Heffernan, Heffernan, 40 Chestnut Street. I wanted to bring up the point. I recently received a ticket for overnight parking. I have a situation in my house. I only have a 2-car driveway. I recently have a son who's driving now, required a 3rd car. I do not have any option other than to park overnight in the street. I understand the law. I believe it to be an antiquated law. It's not enforced every night. It's either enforced when somebody complains. You know, I've been here over 20 years. This is the first ticket I've ever gotten. What I'm really asking for is, where do we go from here? Moving forward, is there any way to change the variant, change the ordinance, update it? I I know Glen Rock has an ordinance where I have it here, they offer permits for long-term parking in front of your own house. The fact that I have to call every night, or would have to call every night, takes away from real dispatcher duties. The other night I got put on hold 3 times while somebody it seemed like they were working on something much more important than overnight parking. I'd just like to know who I can work with or address any other concerns with, and it is really a quality of life issue. I will end up having another car at some point. Like I said, I only have two parking spots, there's no option. I understand when it snows, getting them off the street, that's not an issue. It's just every night, where do I go? What do I do? I really shouldn't have to go anywhere other than in front of my house. So
Okay, thank you, Mr.
that's
Heffernan.
all I have.
Thank you. Please reach out to Borough Attorney Scandariato. There's a whole process that this has to go through. This is an ordinance that needs to be looked at by the committee. I'm not sure whether it would have to go before the planning board or the zoning board of adjustment. I'll leave that to Mr. Scandariato. And if it does have to go before one of those boards, they'll have to come back to mayor and council with a recommendation.
I just had one other.
Sure.
I was looking for some reprieve on having to call every night or worrying that I'm gonna get a $50 ticket at any point.
Well, the fact that the ticket was issued by the police, we can't do it.
No, I'm moving forward.
Call me, we'll see what we can do.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public in chambers? Okay, not seeing anyone from chambers. Is there anyone on the line that would like to make, speak during public comment? Second call for public comment. Remember, it's star 6 to unmute. Okay, should be fine. All right, this is the third and final call for public comment. Anyone from the public that's on the line wishing to speak, please do so now. All right, not hearing anybody, I will close public comment. At this point, I'd like a motion to go out of order so that Borough Administrator Rosé can give his report, because he has a lot of information regarding the consent resolutions and the ordinances that are on for public hearing this evening.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go out of order.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, thank you, Councilman Jones. A roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick?
Yes.
Councilman Goodwetter?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Kilman?
Yes.
Councilman Weber?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods?
Yes.
All right, Borough Administrator Rosé, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. A number of items to cover that are, as the mayor mentioned, are on the agenda tonight. First off, resolutions 219, 220, 221. These 3 resolutions will be confirming the mayor's appointments for new sergeants in the police department. With the previous promotions of Sergeant Perotis and Parisi to lieutenant and the retirement of Sergeant Shoemaker at the end of the year, 3 sergeant positions were to be filled effective January 1st. The police department followed their promotional process, performed initial interviews of the candidates by superior officers in the police department, and all the candidates were then interviewed with the governing body's Public Safety Committee, with Mayor Dillon participating for Councilman Jones. The recommendation of the Public Safety Committee was to appoint officers Guilfoyle, Peterson, and Thorman to sergeant, and these promotions would be effective January 1st, 2022. This completes the final round of the promotional process necessitated by the retirements of Chief Gurney, Captain Stitz, and Sergeant Shoemaker. Now the new police command staff, effective January 1st, have all been put in place. Resolution 223, the borough submitting an application under the Bergen County Community Development Grant Program and for funding in the amount of $53,700 to renovate and make improvements for a full ADA compliant bathroom in the borough meeting room at Finch Park, the old senior center. This room is used by the VFW as well as a number of youth sports groups for meetings, and it's a borough polling location for elections. So this authorizes the application to be submitted. Resolution number 224, the borough has 6 labor unions, each of which have collective bargain agreements that expired at the end of will expire at the end of 2021. After a number of negotiating sessions, I'm recommending the governing body approve a new contract between the borough and PBA Local 155 with a term of 5 years. In the last round of contract negotiations, we had done some changes, including compensation, eliminating compensation for unused sick time. We also had confirmed health insurance contributions at the level the state had implemented with Chapter 78 legislation, which a number of municipalities and Board of Educations have since modified. Ramsey has not. These terms remain in the new agreement. The new agreement holds flat the salary step guides, and there are increases at the top patrol step, and then for superior officers above that at 2% each year for the 5 years. In fact, many municipalities and Board of Educations are trending above 2%, so I believe contracting at 2% for 5 years is a prudent decision for the borough. There were other small changes to the agreement with limited to not a lot of economic impact. We modified annual sick time, personal time to match up with the other Ramsey collectively bargained agreements, accounting for the difference in the PBA's 12-hour per day schedule for the majority of its officers. And I'll keep everybody updated on negotiation progress with the other 5 groups as we move along. I would, since he's in the room, Officer Canonico was one of the members of the police negotiating team, and I would just say that while we obviously were on opposite sides of the table, we also had the collective benefit of Ramsey, and they handled themselves very professionally, and we worked through any differences we had to get to an agreement. So thank you to you and your team. Resolution 225. This renews an interlocal agreement with Waldwick. They are the host town for the indoor police training facility and shooting range. There are a number of towns in the area in that agreement. This will renew it for another year. Ramsey's participation, along with Saddle River, who previously was in the agreement, is looking to rejoin, so the resolution provides our approval for that as well. Resolutions 226 and 227 award professional services agreement to Blue Line Architecture for 2 projects which we have received. The borough's received outside grants mitigating the project cost to the taxpayers. For both of these projects, Blue Line had done the preliminary design work and drawings for the grant applications filed. Resolution 226 is a community development grant for renovation and ADA improvements to the first floor bathrooms at Borough Hall. The second resolution is for a Bergen County open space grant for construction of pickleball courts at Finch Park by renovating the area where currently the street hockey rink is. Resolutions 228 and 229 on the agenda regard the funding of a Board of Public Works project for a water main replacement on Poplar and Christopher Street. Previously, Resolution 157 was done by the governing body. However, at the time, we anticipated using funding from the American Rescue Plan. However, as details of the funding under the American Rescue Plan continue to evolve, it's not clear if the original project bid documents have all the prescribed requirements for reimbursement under the rescue plan, as our bid documents predated the ARP. Therefore, rather than potentially risk future disallowance of reimbursement, the project will be funded through available funds in the Board of Public Works 2021 budget. Resolution number 228 rescinds the prior resolution, and Resolution 229 confirms the award using funding from the BPW's 2021 budget. Resolution 230 is a budget transfer. Simply reallocate funding between line items in the 2021 budget. It does not have any tax impact. It shifts funds from lines that are underspent to other lines where actual expense is exceed what was anticipated. The transfer line item in the BPW budget with the funding I just discussed in Resolutions 228 and 229 is their transfer. The major transfer item in the municipal budget is regard to police salaries. As we talked about earlier, we had a number of retirements this year. The decision was made to proactively get those new officers hired through the police academy and field training during 2021, even though the other officers are not yet retired, so that when they were done and the other officers were retiring, we would not have an overlap that had to be backfilled on overtime in 2022. So as a result, we had a number of extra officers this year. We also had some staffing issues with police. There were some long-term illnesses, as well as disciplinary action that led to an officer being suspended and later terminated that required backfilling to keep the total number of officers safe to minimum staffing levels and safety requirements on different shifts. So those for the rationale for why that line item differed from what was originally anticipated. Resolution 231, previously mentioned the sergeant promotion. Sergeant Shoemaker is retiring at the end of the year. I'd just like to say one impact Sergeant Shoemaker has made that's easily recognizable by the community is when he was the officer in charge of the DARE program, which is now LEAD. He transformed that program, was recognized as State of New Jersey's DARE Officer of the Year, and he certainly left his mark on a generation of Ramsey's children who went through the program under his leadership. We thank him for his service to Ramsey. Resolution 232 allows the borough to participate in the federal government 1033 program for calendar year 2022. We have done this resolution a number of years. It allows the borough to obtain excess Department of Defense equipment with no charge. This is not just military equipment that you would normally think of with the Department of Defense, but generators, medical first aid equipment. In fact, a number of the items we have obtained are portable generators through this program, which Office of Emergency Management utilizes during power outages, providing them to residents in need for medical issues such as powering oxygen machines and other vital services. So we'll continue our participation in that program for 2022. Resolution 233, Council President Kilman's previously discussed the borough would be soliciting quotes for professional services for the ADA and structural condition evaluation of the emergency services building on Island Avenue. We solicited and received 3 proposals from independent firms. After review of the proposals, qualifications, and following phone inquiries with the principals, Borough Engineer Jack D'Agostero recommended the contract be awarded to Colliers Engineering of Red Bank, New Jersey. Ordinances I discussed in length last meeting when they were introduced. I'll just go through them quickly. Ordinance 15 of 2021 is licensing fees for dogs and cats. We have a new module for licensing software. Everything can now be online if that's what the resident would like to do. You can still do it in person, but it is now fully online, will be online starting in 2022. In that review, we modified our license fees. They had not been changed for dogs since 2009 and for cats since 1999. There's a $3 change to the dogs and a $2 change to the cats for the annual licensing fee, and no increase on senior pet licensing fee, on the seniors' pet licensing fees. Ordinance 16 modifies, in conjunction with recommendations by our risk manager and the joint insurance fund, which we participate, some new guidance for in the marketplace for the insurance required for people filming in town. Ordinance 17 is a bond ordinance with a number of capital improvements. The bond ordinance is for $905,000. We'll be making a $46,000 upfront payment. Things included in this ordinance, as I detailed last time, are renovation and ADA improvements to both the second floor bathrooms in Borough Hall and the first floor bathrooms in Borough Hall. And we did, for those projects, receive community development block grants totaling $126,838. Excuse me, somebody has to dial in or we'll get music all the time if there's nobody else on the line. I must have bored them and they killed their connection.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so the bond ordinance includes those bathroom renovations, which have offsetting grant or mitigating grants of almost $127,000. There's a front-end loader for the DPW, replacing a 25-year-old loader in that. There's a new roll-off truck for the DPW, again replacing an existing piece of equipment that's 16 years old, as well as a purchase for 2 vehicles for the Ramsey Police Department, and the requisite equipment installed for each for police use. Ordinance 18 is a parking ordinance modifications recommended from the review by the police's traffic department. Officer Canonico is the head of that such traffic department, so he could probably speak better than I on this, but it it goes to areas around Hubbard School and the Farmers Market on Sunday in terms of no parking and no left turns around Hubbard and also on Maple Street. Details are in the ordinances, and we outlined them last time, so. So that's ordinance 18 is the parking, and 19 is the no left turn modifications. Ordinance 20, capital improvement ordinance, allocates funds previously put in the municipal budget, so this is not creating new funding or anything like that. It's just authorizing funding that's already been put in place through the budget. This is items in here, the purchase of PP&E for the fire department, some upgrades on the tower ladder truck, the 2004 tower ladder truck for new emergency lighting and scene lighting. Rescue squad, again, PP&A, air packs, and portable radios under a multi-year program that we do a little bit each year. And then the Ramsey Rescue Squad, a replacement for their utility truck. Their truck was in use at an accident scene on Route 17. It was parked, hit, and totaled by another car. The borough has received some insurance proceeds to offset the car, but given the age, it won't fully offset the purchase of the new car. So we will be replacing that car with these proceeds. And also the replacement of vehicles, again, for the Ramsey Police Department are in this capital ordinance as well. And I think that's all I have, which is probably enough.
That was quite
I
efficient.
will reserve a couple comments, I think, for later in the agenda, but that's it on this.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, this time I'll make appointments. Jeffrey Gilpall, Sergeant, Ramsey Police Department, effective January 1st, 2022. James S. or Scott Peterson, Sergeant, Ramsey Police Department, effective January 1st, 2022. Michael Thorman, Sergeant, Ramsey Police Department, effective January 1st, 2022. Theodore Bergler to the Office of Emergency Management. Father Nicholas Sertich to the Ramsey Municipal Alliance. Corinne Beltramini, Ramsey Rescue Squad. Catherine Kriz, Ramsey Rescue Squad. And Haley Thompson to Ramsey Rescue Squad. Come again? Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Not paying attention. Okay, so do I have a motion to go back into order so we can do the advertised public hearing on?
I'd like to make a motion to go back into regular order.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gutwetter.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our advertised public hearings for final consideration of ordinances, as they were just very well explained by Borough Administrator Jose. Ordinance 15-2021.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Code of the Borough of Ramsey, Bergen County, New Jersey, and more specifically, Section 5-1 entitled Licensing of Dogs and Section 5-6 entitled Cats, having been brought up for public hearing, and all persons interested in having been given an opportunity to be heard, pass final reading by title. And that said ordinance be adopted as an ordinance of the Borough of Ramsey. And be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and she hereby is directed, to cause a copy of the title of said ordinance to be published in an official newspaper of the Borough in the manner provided by law, together with a notice of the date of introduction and adoption of said ordinance. May I please get a second?
I second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any comment in addition to Borough Administrator's explanation? No? Thank you. At this point, I'll open it up to public hearing. Is there anyone, either in council chambers or on the phone, that would like to comment on ordinance 15-2021? Okay, second call for comments on ordinance 15-2021. Third and final call for comments on ordinance 15-2021. Yeah, we'll close the public hearing. May we please have a roll call?
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gutwetter.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 16-2021.
Thank you, Mary Dillon. Final reading on ordinance 16, 2021. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Code of Borough of Ramsey, Bergen County, New Jersey, and more specifically, Section 3-28, therefore entitled Filming, have been brought up for public hearing, and all persons interested been given the opportunity to be heard, pass final reading by title, and that said ordinance be adopted as an ordinance in the Borough of Ramsey. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and she hereby is, directed to cause copy of said title of said ordinance to be published in the official newspaper of the Borough by the manner provided by law, together with notice of date of introduction and adoption of said ordinance.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I second.
Thank you. Anyone from the council have any comments in addition to the explanation given by Borough Administrator Lozay? Not hearing any comments from council. We'll open this up to public hearing. Is there anyone in council chambers or on the line that would like to comment on ordinance 16-2021? Second call for comments on ordinance 16-2021. Final call for comments on ordinance 16-2021. Not hearing anyone, I will close public comment, or the hearing, and roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick?
Yes.
Councilman Gutwetter?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Kilman?
Yes.
Councilman Weber?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 17-2021.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the final reading of Ordinance 17-2021. Be resolved that an ordinance entitled Bond Ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery and new automobile vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the Borough of Ramsey in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $905,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. Having been brought up for public hearing and all persons interested having been given an opportunity to be heard, passed final reading by title, and that said ordinance be adopted as an ordinance of the Borough of Ramsey. And be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and she hereby is directed to cause a copy of this title of said ordinance to be published in an official newspaper of the Borough in the manner provided by law, together with a notice of the date of introduction and adoption of said ordinance.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the council? Not hearing any, I will open this up to public hearing. Is there anyone in council chambers or on the line that would like to speak regarding ordinance 17-2021? Second call for comments on ordinance 17-2021. Third and final call for comments on ordinance 17-2021. Not hearing anyone, I will close the public hearing. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Cusick?
Yes.
Councilman Gutwetter?
Yes?
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Kilman?
Yes.
Councilman Weber?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 18-2021.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight we have the final reading of Ordinance 18-2021. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Ramsey, Bergen County, New Jersey, and more specifically, Section 7-7 thereof entitled Parking, having been brought up for public hearing and all persons interested having been given an opportunity to be heard, pass final reading by title, and that ordinance be adopted as an ordinance of the Borough of Ramsey. And be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and she hereby is, directed to cause a copy of title of the said ordinance to be published in an official newspaper of the Borough in a manner provided by law, together with a notice of the date of introduction and adoption of said ordinance.
Thank you. Second.
I second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone on the council have any comment on ordinance 18-2021?
The only thing above what Borough Administrator Lozay already described is I just wanted to thank Officer Canonico again for the work that he did on Ordinance 18 and 19. I know it's meticulous, detailed, and it's a balance of convenience and safety, so thank you.
Thank you. I echo your comments. At this point, I will open 18-2021 for public hearing. Anyone in council chambers or anyone online wishing to comment on ordinance 18-2021? Second call for comments on ordinance 18-2021. Third and final call for comments on ordinance 18, 2021. Not hearing anyone, I will close the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gottlieb.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 19-2021.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Ramsey, Bergen County, New Jersey, and more specifically Section 7-22, thereof entitled Turn Prohibitions, having been brought up for public hearing, and all persons interested having been given an opportunity to be heard, pass final reading by title, and that said ordinance be adopted as an ordinance of the Borough of Ramsey. And be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and she hereby is directed to cause a copy of the title of the said ordinance to be published in an official newspaper of the Borough in a manner provided by law, together with a notice of the date of introduction and adoption of said ordinance.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Anyone have any comments on ordinance 19, 2021? Anyone from the council?
Just my same comments as the last ordinance.
Thank you. Open ordinance 19, 2021 for public hearing. Anyone in chambers or on the line wishing to comment on ordinance 19, 2021? Second call for comments on ordinance 19, 2021. Third and final call for comments on 19, 2021. Not hearing anyone, I will close the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gottlieb.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2021. 2021.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the final reading of ordinance 20-2021. Be resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to authorize capital improvements for the purpose of acquisition of vehicles and equipment for Ramsey Police Department, Ramsey Volunteer Fire Department, and Ramsey Rescue Squad in the Borough of Ramsey, Bergen County, New Jersey, and to appropriate the sum of $406,000 to pay the cost thereof. Having been brought up for public hearing and all persons interested, having been given an opportunity to be heard, pass final reading by title, and that said ordinance be adopted as an ordinance of the Borough of Ramsey. And be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be, and she hereby is directed to cause the title of said ordinance to be published in an official newspaper of the Borough in the manner provided by law, together with a notice of the date of introduction and adoption of said ordinance.
Do we have a second?
Madam Mayor, I second.
Thank you. Anyone from the council want to make any comments on ordinance 20-2021? Not hearing one, I will open up the public hearing on ordinance 20-2021. Anyone in council chambers or on the line wishing to comment on ordinance 2021, please speak up. Second call for comments on ordinance 20-2021. Third and final call for comments on ordinance 20-2021. Not hearing anyone, I will close the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Gottlieb.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Kilman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Woods.
Yes.
Thank you. Great job, everybody. That was a lot of work on those ordinances, so thanks for everyone who put in all that effort, especially for Administrator Jose, Officer Monaco. Thank you, well done. Once again, I'll do the appointments, this time in order. Jeffrey Guilfoyle, Sergeant, Ramsey Police Department, effective January 1st, 2022. James S. Peterson, Sergeant, Ramsey Police Department, effective January 1st, 2022. Michael Thorman, Sergeant, Ramsey Police Department, effective January 1st, 2022. Theodore Bergler, Office of Emergency Management. Father Nicholas Sertich, Ramsey Municipal Alliance. Corinne Beltramini, Ramsey Rescue Squad. Catherine Frizz, Ramsey Rescue Squad. And Haley Thompson, Ramsey Rescue Squad. Consent resolutions.
Thank you again, Mayor. Be it resolved that resolutions 217-2021 through and including 236-2021, having been considered by the governing body of the Borough of Ramsey, be and are hereby passed and approved. There are no special permits or block party requests this evening.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Madam Mayor, I second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cusick.
Yes.
Councilman Cutletter.
Yes.
Councilman Jones.
Yes.
Councilman Tillman.
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wood.
Yes.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to do a special presentation because as some members of the audience might know, that this is Councilman Jones' last meeting as a councilman in Ramsey.
Down.
Did we know this, Bill?
The council, the borough administration, and myself, we just want to say thank you for your 15 years of service to the borough of Ramsey. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you. We've been through a lot together. I also have something else to hand to you, a pen from 2006. Not sure everyone knows, but back in 2006, Bill, Chris Bott, and I all ran together for the first time. And we've made history ever since. So congratulations, you've been an absolute asset to the borough. We've all appreciated your guidance, your wisdom, your knowledge, your sense of humor, your deep convictions, your hard work, your dedication. And then also, most of all, we just appreciate you for being here. And you're going to be so grateful for doing this behind this. You have no idea.
That's not 3.5 hours.
3 hours and 25 minutes. Well, first, I just want to thank my friends and family who are here. It means a lot. How do you summarize a lifetime of public service in just a few hours? It's not really possible. I reduced this speech down to a brief 3 hours and 25 minutes. Then I reached out to the Public Works and Utilities Board and asked them to cancel their meeting and change it to Christmas Eve. So I have a full 6 hours to speak. Dedicate an hour to each decade of my life.
I did say midnight, so we're on par.
I would also like to thank the dignitaries and world leaders for their notes, messages of congratulations, the numerous awards, dedications of buildings, streets, highways, bridges, and tunnels they have made on my behalf. It is certainly very appreciative. The hour-long video tribute you'll see shortly running, and the touching words of all the living presidents. President Carter actually stopped building a Habitat for Humanity home a few minutes to speak on my behalf. But those are all jokes, and I kid you. I thought about this night a lot in the last few months, and I've gone back and forth on exactly how it should be. I thought about bloviating for several hours and all the wonderful things I've been a part of for the last 15 years. But as each day got closer, I thought it would just be better to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks to the residents of Ramsey the past 15 years who have shown faith and trust in electing me to serve as a member of this council for 5 terms. Their support and vote was an honor and a role that I never took lightly all these years. Thank you to all the people I have served with, 14 different people in 15 years. That's a lot of change, and a lot of new and fresh and different ideas. The chance to call all of you my friends has been a bonus of serving, but as Mayor Dillon said, we ran together. She replaced Mayor Botta, Councilman Kilman replaced Mayor Dillon's seat. Councilwoman Woods replaced Councilwoman Jaxell, who replaced Jeff Heller's seat. Councilman Weber replaced Councilman Albandian. Mr. Vose at one time was a councilman who was replaced by Councilman Verdoni, and now Councilwoman Cusick. All right, Councilman Gutwetter replaced, let's see if I remember this, Councilman Taberzi, who replaced Andrew Simpson, Councilman Simpson. So I think I covered everyone here. And we've had two borough administrators, one borough attorney, and one borough clerk in all that time. So that has truly been a pleasure. I want to thank all the volunteers and employees, all of which make Ramsey a very special place we all love to call home. They are the lifeblood of the borough. I would be remiss not to give special thanks to Bruce, Meredith, Sherry, and Kelly here at Borough Hall. Have worked very closely with them on many projects through the years. They've always done whatever we needed to get the job done and have made the ideas of the governing body come to life. I thank you all for that. I want to thank my family, my parents who taught me what public service was, and led by examples, an example that I hope to have passed on to my children. Now, my children are all in their 20s. 15 years ago, they were very young. And they would ask when I come home from work, Daddy, do you have a meeting tonight? Or, Daddy, do you have another meeting tonight? It was often the way they would say. They had to share their time with me. It allowed me to do something I love. I hope I taught them the valuable lesson of giving back to the community. Thank you to Zachary and thank you to Dawn, who has put up with a lot the last few years. My growing frustration over a toxic few people, actually 12, on social media, who tried hard to take the joy out of something I love, but they did not. The last 38 years, my entire adult life, I spent in elected, appointed, or volunteer positions giving back. I do not regret 1 minute of it, and I do it all again. Because I think public service is the right thing to do. I am extremely proud to have been elected at 23, and honored to have been elected in 2 terms, something very few people have ever done in Bergen County history. I will leave you with the guiding principle I've tried to do and serve, and be fair and reasonable, and always tried to do what I thought was the right thing. Regardless of an outcome, whether my positions or opinions were won or lost, I respected everyone's right to their opinion and respected the outcome of a vote. You also always knew where you stood with me, and I hope for the sake of our country, our elected leaders will get back to the mutual respect that has been my North Star guiding principle my entire career in public service. I thank you all again for listening to me all these years, and I wish you nothing but the best in what is ahead. Thank you, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. And I never thought someone else would talk more than me on my last night. They did a pretty good call.
Just tried to follow your lead.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Councilman Jones. Okay, move on to committee and liaison report. Finance Administration, Councilman Gutwetter.
How do I get a follow that? All right. You didn't get us to midnight, Bill. All right. I'll get to Bill's comments at the end here. Let me do my regular report first, if I I would like to offer best wishes to Ramsey Police Department Sergeant Timothy Shoemaker on his retirement, and thank him for his many years of service and for all his efforts in the DARE program. I also congratulate Officers Guilfoyle, Peterson, and Foreman on their appointments to the sergeants with the Ramsey Police Department, Ed Bergler on his appointment to the Office of Emergency Services, and Corinne, Catherine, and Haley to Ramsey Rescue Squad. Also, best wishes to Chief Gurney on his upcoming retirement, and thank him for his many years of service. You have left the police force in very good hands. As for the library board, a new Winterfest family event is being planned outdoors on Saturday, January 29th, with outdoor games, decorations, music, hot cider, hot chocolate, and a bonfire for s'mores. Much new content is being added daily on the library's social media site, highlighting different collections and events, and the push is for much outreach and advertising to the community about the library in the new year. As for the Rec Commission, the winter sports continue and spring sports are being planned for now. For Bill Jones, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you for your many years of service to the borough as a councilman, and for all your mentoring and leadership during my time as a councilman, and for all your efforts and accomplishments during your tenure. Always a voice of reason and great instincts in your dealings as a councilman. Please do not stray too far from us. And lastly, thank you for being a friend, not just to me, but to all that you came in contact with. Thank you, Bill.
Public Safety, Councilman Weber.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Starting with Municipal Alliance, the Municipal Alliance met this week. We continue our discussions on upcoming events for the new year. First up, coming up would be the coordinated event with the Mawa Municipal Alliance on a virtual film screening for the movie Like, to be shown sometime in February. We're also working on a possible Matt Bellis event to promote Stigma-Free Month in the month of May of 2022. We discussed the restructure of the current restructure of the organization as the current chairwoman, Sarah Poppy, prepares to take on her new role as a councilwoman. Rife had another wonderful event on December 10th, Friday night. We had our winter dance. It was a great crowd there. It was a wonderful event. We will take off the month of January and probably have our next event at the community center in February, where we will do a Valentine's Day dance. And we are gearing up to start the basketball season, to start sometime in January, barring any new restrictions implemented due to COVID and its variants. Public Safety, as mentioned, we have 3 new sergeants, so I'd like to say congratulations to Sergeant Michael Foreman, Scott Peterson, and Jeff Guilfoyle, sorry about that. And I also would like to thank Mayor Dillon, Councilman Guttwetter, and Borough Administrator Bose for all the work they did going into these interviews and preparing for this. It probably is one of the most difficult things we have to do because we have so many outstanding officers and so few positions, and the decision is always a very, very difficult one, so I thank them for the time that they provided in that process. The Environmental Commission, I just want to congratulate Chairperson Patrick Nerney and Karen Day and all the members of the Environmental Commission team for achieving the silver level certification status in the Sustainable New Jersey program. This is actually very prestigious. Typically, a lot of towns will reach the bronze status, and that's as far as they will go, but the Environmental Commission in Ramsey has been determined since achieving bronze status to make it to the silver status, and they did achieve it this week, or this month. They had approved application of over 33 actions in 11 categories for a total of 355 points. It is hard to maintain, but the committee was dedicated and was determined to do that. I would like to say a special thank you to Sergeant Shoemaker. Sergeant Shoemaker has been an inspiration to my daughter, my family for many, many years. My daughter was so touched and so inspired by Officer Shoemaker as the DARE officer. She worked her tail off, and she was she won the DARE essay contest when she was in 5th grade. She ran the SAD organization when she was in high school, and she went on to college to run similar organizations, all really inspired by her interactions with Sergeant Shoemaker over the years. He continues to reach out to her just to check in every now and then and make sure she's doing okay. So I just wanted to say a special thank you to him on a personal level. I'd also like to congratulate Ted Bergler on his appointment to Office of Emergency Management. Father Nick Surdich, who is our new priest over at St. Paul's, he's really embraced the parish, and now he's embracing the Ramsey as a community in its entirety, and I welcome him to the Ramsey Municipal Alliance. I I'd also like to welcome the 3 new Rescue Squad members, Corrine Beltramini, Catherine Kriz, and Haley Thompson. And finally, a special thank you to Councilman Bill Jones. I mean, we could all sit up here and fill the evening with accolades for hours and about the contributions Bill's made over the years serving the Borough of Ramsey. And I'm hoping to say a lot in just a few words. Bill, thank you. I thank you as a colleague and a fellow council member for all of your guidance and mentoring over the years. I thank you as a resident of Ramsey for all the hard work you did, always putting Ramsey at the top of everything that you did. Most of all, I just want to thank you as a friend. You always made time for any one of us, no matter what we asked. You helped mentor and guide us, not only as council members up here tonight, but also many that have already completed their terms and moved on to other things. We'll miss you more than we can express in words, and we wish you all the best. Sincerely, thank you.
Thank you. Building, Planning, and Zoning, Councilwoman Woods.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to start by congratulating Sergeant Shoemaker on his retirement, and I also would like to say that he made a really big impact with my children, and it was a pleasure to work with him. I worked on several fundraising events for the DARE organization. I also would like to thank our recent appointments, the sergeants that have joined the group. Thank you so much. I'm not going to go through all the names. We've said them over and over, but thank you all for your service, and we really appreciate you. I would like to also, I'm going to mention the seniors. The senior group had a wonderful party a few weeks ago. Over 100 people attended. It was, it's really thriving, this group. Joe Verdoni was there. He knows everyone in town, and he said he only knew about 20% of the people at the party. So there's a lot of new faces, and I'm really happy to see that. I would like to say that the Design Review Board has nothing to report because we have our meeting coming up next month. Board of Health, I will say more about next month as well, but as you have heard, COVID cases are rising, and we really just need to be more careful. The lecture series is in place with the Board of Health, and that's growing through the spring, and I will have more to say at our next meeting. But I really want to talk about Bill Jones. He's my friend. I just want to say that I'm amazed at how much time he has given to our community. I volunteered at the schools, but that always benefited my kids. I mean, other children too, but what Bill does is selfless. I mean, he does for not just our town, other communities. He's amazing. His father was involved in local politics in East Rutherford, and he learned well. Bill learned well. He continued in his father's footsteps, and by being a terrific mentor and example to all of us. His generosity extends to so many. For example, he hosts a turkey fry on Thanksgiving, and he has, I don't know how many, is it 40 birds? It's crazy how many turkeys he fries. And he's turned it into a fundraiser for a scholarship for his friend's daughter. And I just never saw anyone work so hard. He brings people together for good deeds, which really, I'm amazed at how many people he can impact that way. I know I will continue to seek his advice and counsel, but mostly I look forward to spending more time together as friends. And I know I can always call on Bill to intercede with the weather because that is his special gift. Thank you, and enjoy your time off.
Thank you. Utilities, Buildings, and Grounds, Councilman Tillman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the spirit of transparency, I thought the next meeting was going to be Bill's last meeting, so I had started to think about what I wanted to say. So now the trajectory of all of my pieces of paper and notes here, let's see if I can get through this and then make some comments. I'll still probably talk about Bill at our next meeting. Let me just go quickly. I do wish Sergeant Shoemaker on his retirement, and I, like Councilwoman Woods, would just like to congratulate all of those appointments that were named tonight. Thank you for serving this great community. Always appreciate it. Just briefly on Resolution 233, for the sake of time, I defer to Mr. Vozet's report regarding the borough's assessment process of the emergency services complex on South Island Road. I simply want to thank our borough engineer and superintendent of public works, Jack D'Agostero, for his work and final recommendation on selecting Collier's engineering and design group to evaluate the complex's foundation and structure. The council approved the resolution tonight, and Collier's assessment work will move forward. I have a report from our veterans, from former Councilman Joe Verdoni, military veteran and VFW Post 12148 member. Our VFW Post participation in Ramsey's Home for the Holidays was a huge success. We thank all the sponsors and volunteers for producing a great annual event. George Dutch Halleck, 95, one of our oldest veterans, is having health issues. Anyone who would like to visit him is welcome to stop by his house at 59 Woodland Avenue. Dutch would certainly appreciate it. The Ramsey VFW Post wishes everyone a very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy, prosperous 2022. Now moving on to Bill, and I'll be brief and I'll be longer the next time. In 2015, a little shortly after I came out of the private sector, and what I learned was from Bill was what serving the public was about in public service. Mainly the performance and the patience you have to have with the pace of government, not the pace of business. His common sense, his advice, his wit, his integrity. He taught me how special this kind of work is. And he taught me about how to focus and spend your time and how to direct tax dollars. And those are the utilitarian aspects of it. But everyone has commented, Jane and Harriet did an eloquent job, and everyone. Bill is just a tremendous human being. He always makes time for you. He reaches out. Whenever I ever have an issue, I call, and he takes the time to explain it or to counsel me in which way to go or how to think about it. And you think that after all these years, I've learned all this stuff and I can, distill it down into what I need to think about. And Bill always comes up with a unique perspective on it. I thank him. He's just a phone call away, as he says, and I am going to miss him terribly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I jump in? I forgot to say one
Yes,
thing.
of course.
I forgot to mention that the retail cannabis ordinance has been presented for consideration to the committee and will be presented in January.
Thank you. Public and Government Relations, Councilman Jones, do you have anything further to add?
I do have to just give my report, thank you. And I do want to thank everyone again for being here tonight, to Steve and Ange and Buddy and Joel. I think if I said that at the beginning of my speech, I probably wouldn't have made it through. Because I practiced, and I don't usually do that. Anyway, I do want to thank everyone for their kind words this evening and the plaque. And I will, all of our appointments, congratulations to our three new sergeants. I am happy to say that in my 15 years on the council, 14 of them have been on public safety, and I've gotten to meet the fine young men and women of our department and either been part of hiring them or promoting virtually all of them, except Chief Gurney, who was chief when I got here. So I've been here through all of their appointments and the changes, and I'm very happy to have been a part of that. I have nothing to report on the pool commission. The farmers market continues every Sunday on their winter hours, which are 10 to 1. I would encourage everyone to continue to shop local, support our businesses, not only on Main Street, but throughout, and go to the Ramsey Chamber of Commerce website to see the many various goods and services that are offered by our residents and your neighbors, and see how you can support them not only at the holiday time, but throughout the whole year. To the rest of the appointees tonight, I congratulate them, and I'm not sure that I'm going to give up control of the weather yet, but someone will get that task perhaps in the future. And I will say this, that everyone's kind words are much appreciated, but this spot and the future of our group is in great shape. Sarah is going to be a great addition. She's done an amazing amount of work in the community, and I could not be happier to see that this place that I've had for so long will be in very good hands going forward. I'm not worried about that one bit. You'll all do a great job. You're selfless, and I appreciate everything you've all done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. That's your last public comment.
There you go.
Wow, changing of an era. My goodness. Okay, Health, Education, and Social Services, Councilwoman Cusick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to Tim Shoemaker and also the Ramsey Sergeants, Guilfoyle, Peterson, and Gorman. Also, congratulations to Mr. Bergler and Father Nick. And also congratulations to Catherine Kritz, Haley Thompson, and Corrine Beltramini to the Ramsey Rescue Squad. This report will provide an update regarding our planning board, the Ramsey Board of Ed, and Ramsey Responds. There was a planning board meeting on December 7th. There were 7 waivers, all of which were approved. The next planning board meeting is the 18th of January, 2022. For the Ramsey Board of Ed, I encourage our town members to keep current with the Board of Ed and their activities because 69% of your taxpayers' property tax money is for the Board of Ed. The meetings are recorded and posted on the platform YouTube. Once in YouTube, search Ramsey Board of Ed, and the meetings are listed and sorted by date. The next Board of Ed meeting was supposed to be tomorrow, December 21st, but it's been canceled. For Ramsey Responds, this coming Tuesday, the 21st, is the last week collecting items for their food pantry. Ramsey Responds will continue to provide financial and other assistance to those families in need. They'll continue to provide ShopRite and other supermarket, drugstore, and other gift cards to families. There's a Ramsey Response social media page that contains additional information regarding projects and requests for the organization. I would also like to say, Councilman Bill Jones, I wish you well. Bill, I recall, and you said it this evening, you said that service to others was something that you enjoyed, and I so appreciated the sentiment. There is a feeling of happiness and gratitude that one gets when you help and serve others. And Bill, thank you so much for that comment because it put a different perspective on my thinking as a council member regarding service to others. I really appreciate what you said. I wish everyone a wonderful holiday season, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate Catherine Frizz, Corrine Beltramini, and Haley Thompson on their appointment to Ramsey Rescue Squad, and Theodore Berger to the Office of Emergency Management, and of course, congratulations to our 3 new sergeants, Thorman, Peterson, and Guilfoyle. Congratulations to the Environmental Commission on the Silver Status Achievement. That is quite the achievement, and I can imagine the amount of work that went into it. Tomorrow, we're having the COVID drive-through testing at the train station from 9 to 4, if anyone wants to get tested prior to the holidays. Also, I want to thank the Ramsey Volunteer Fire Department for the home for the holidays. It was an absolutely wonderful event. It was truly successful and extremely well attended. I think that's one of the best attendance I've seen in many, many years. So congratulations to the Ramsey Volunteer Fire Department. And thank you for all the hard work they put into it. And thank you for everyone who participated, especially all the kids who marched in the parade in the cold. It's one of the things that makes Ramsey so special. I kind of felt like we were in that movie, A Christmas Story, with the parade. So I want to say, once again, thank you to Councilman Jones. You're going to be so truly, truly missed. And some of the things that Bill's been responsible for, he helped get the Chamber of Commerce revived with former Councilwoman Jack Sell, Ramsey Farmers Market. He brought back the newsletter, which we will be bringing back post-COVID under the auspices of to-be Councilwoman Poppy. He also, Bill, worked very closely with Bruce to do always our Independence Day celebration and Ramsey Day, 2 great events in Ramsey. So Bill, not only will you be missed on a personal level, you'll be missed on a professional level, and the borough has been better for your service. You've made the town a much better place. So thank you. And I want to wish everyone a very happy holidays, best wishes for 2022, and we'll see you on January 3rd for the reorganization. That's it. Borough Administrator Rosé.
Thank you. I have a couple more comments. The first thing, during the ordinances, we received a message on YouTube from Andrew Seltzer, 177 Woodland Avenue. I guess he said he wanted to make a comment regarding ordinance 19/2021, but his microphone was not working on his end, so I'll just repeat. His only other comment in his text was that the superintendent of schools was not contacted, it looks like he had said on that. I'll just touch on that ordinance 19/2021 was regarding left turns around Hubbard School. Officer Canonico of the Ramsey Police Department's Traffic Division had spoken with the principal at Hubbard regarding parking and the left turn changes, and many of these have actually been posted and in place during a test period since September. So based on the success of that and the improvements of safety in the areas, why these things are now being formalized for implementation. And obviously, traffic is a public safety issue, so it's handled by the Ramsey Police Department throughout the borough. That would be my comments regarding Mr. Seltzer's comment. We apologize that your microphone wasn't working, and we put your comment in here now, at least on the public record. Okay, Bill, I started on this dais in 2006, and you and the mayor were soon to follow the next year. So virtually all of the time I've spent up here has been with you, and it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed serving with you, the citizens of Ramsey. I've always valued your views on issues, your judgment, and working together for the town. You've been a valued colleague, mentor, and friend. I look forward to continuing as we work together now as fellow administrators. You'll truly be missed, and wish you all the best, and enjoy your evenings off on a couple of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Borough Attorney.
Yes. Thank you. A long time ago, I was borough attorney in North Arlington. We heard rumors about this wild man in East Rutherford. He knew his stuff, knew it. And he was a young man. He knew it. He knew how to do even then. And some 20 years later, I'm lucky enough to sit next to him. I want to thank you for your knowledge and censure. It's been a pleasure.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Borough Clerk, Ms. Bendian.
Councilman Jones, I just want to wish you well in your civilian life.
For your semi-civilian life. Okay.
Thank you for the great weather at the parade. That was awesome.
Yeah, you really outdid yourself for home for the holidays, weather-wise. Oh, okay, anyway. We don't have any introduction of ordinances, because, well, we had final consideration of so many this evening. No unfinished business, no new business.
Well, there's the remainder of Bill's speech.
Are you ready? Bill, you have some more? We do have some time.
I really don't.
We have a few minutes.
Congrats to Shoemaker on his retirement, I forgot to say that.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
There's only one person that can attend the meeting.
Mr. Councilman
I will
Jones.
move.
Oh, it's a sign to die, right? Adjourn to sign.
You were going to adjourn to sign I die. So we'll see if the sign I die, right, Joe?
I guess so.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to adjourn to the sign I die. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
There we go. All right, thank you, everyone. Last meeting of 2021. Happy holidays, stay safe and healthy.